Get ready for transcription in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, start. Sir, we were expecting that this bill, which is before us and which has been passed by Rajya Sabha, would deal with some of the vital issues that are agitating the minds of the people and their living conditions also, but unfortunately, it does not do so. The reality is that in the original Act of 1955, we have about 13 categories of essential commodities, including cattle fodder, coal, automobile parts, cotton, wool, textiles, raw cotton, raw jute, drugs, food grains, iron ore, petroleum and petroleum products, sugar, and sugarcane. But this bill touches only a few things. Here, the vital aspects are not even touched up. There is no statement of objects and reasons appended with the bill so that we can grasp the meaning of this. As far as this bill is concerned, it deals with some formality and technical matters only. When we touch upon this budget, we know that there are three aspects which are important, such as production, distribution, and price. With regard to production, the whole country knows that there has been a bumper crop of food grains, and we are patting ourselves on the back for that. Besides that, there have been huge imports. With regard to groundnut also, the minister has been declaring that there has been a bumper crop of 80 lakh tons and it comes to about 40% more than the last year's production. Here we have just now heard that the National Textile Corporation is playing its part in stepping production and making the sick and deserted units viable ones. In such a situation, when there is production on such a huge scale, what is the factor that is hindering the proper distribution and check on price rise in our country? I would like to ask, in view of the fact that the production in the public sector is growing, even the National Textile Corporation with 6 mills, most of them dead mills, is growing. I would like to know about role of the private sector in the matter of textiles. We have been hearing that the private sector is resorting to lockouts and even retrenchment. Is the government of India aware of the fact that the monopolies in our country are resorting to a policy of increasing profits by raising prices after reducing production? So, their policy is anti national. They reduce production and increase profit by raising the prices. In regard to production, we fear that we may again be in a mess. We have not been able to control lockouts, etc. And in regard to the production of groundnuts, cotton, and jute, there is an oversupply. The jute mills are crying that their products have not been taken up. In such a situation, this would hamper production next year. When the real producers are not getting impetus, whether they produce food grains, edible oils, jute, sugarcane, cotton, or oilseeds, the danger is that they will not get adequate encouragement and the production may not go on steadily increasing as it did this year. As such, one would expect that the government would consider the fact that the jute mills are not doing justice to jute production, its growers, or even to its marketing. They are depending entirely upon the government. They are not reducing the price of jute goods. When the price of jute has gone down naturally, we expect that the prices of jute goods will be less when they are not cheaper. There is a crisis in the jute market, but the prices of finished goods are where they were. They are also slightly costlier in some respects. In such a situation, the production policy of the private sector is not helping the cause of the industry itself, much less to talk of that of the producers or consumers. And the same thing applies to sugar mills and to cotton mills in private hands. One would feel that the time has come when the government should take up courage to nationalize at least jute, cotton, and sugar mills in order to be in a stronger position and to have a strong hand over production and to have a steady increase in production in order to have proper distribution and reasonable prices. Then comes the question of distribution. With regard to this, our government feels very helpless. The minister has indicated that the traders were reconciled to the emergency and were waiting on their wings to exploit the situation when the opportunity arose. The opportunity was the delay in onset of the monsoon by 3 weeks, which led them to hoarding and black marketing. He is saying in a helpless manner that some delay in the onset of the monsoon allowed them to resort to hoarding and black marketing. Therefore, they are committing these crimes at a time when there is a national emergency, when the government has more than adequate powers to control them. There should be a panel to deal with compilation of production data and identifying trends of significance and advising the government in time of need. The second class compartments and sometimes even the first class compartments are very crowded. Drinking water is not being provided. The toilets and bathrooms are not clean. The railway authorities should pay more attention to the basic requirements of the passengers. The food that is being supplied is not at all good and hygienic. It is very often cold and exposed, let alone the taste of food, which is very bad at times. Care must be taken by the management to provide good and hygienic food. The Honorable Minister has been kind enough to supply hot and hygienic food to the members in the Central Hall and in the Parliament. Likewise, the same kind of good food should be supplied to the passengers also. As the catering service is being privatized, the service should improve. It is criticized that laying of double line in some parts of Tamil Nadu and other areas has not been taken up. This is true and it has to be done on priority. I suggest that new lines should be laid and the narrow gauge and meter gauge lines should be converted to broad gauge lines. The workers as well as people suffer when funds meant for conversion are not released. Full stop.